What's up, gang? Hope you're doing well. This is a video that I think has been requested a couple times. If it has, I'll put those up on the screen. But I just wanted to do it anyways, and it's well overdue because this is by far one of my favorite NBA channels. I think it's easily one of the best NBA channels. This is Thinking Basketball. So 656,000 subscribers now. Definitely, if you're an NBA fan, go like and subscribe. He does an incredible job of explaining the why behind something. So some of the coaches that I've reviewed or spoken about are really good at just telling you what's happening, right? I don't think that's coaching. I think that's just using your eyes and communicating the words through your mouth through a microphone. That's all you're doing. You're just saying what's happening. And I really dislike when that becomes the more popular channel, when someone can just say what's happening on screen and people are like, whoa, mind blown. Thinking Basketball will go into detail. There's a few other channels like it, but I think he's by far the best one. It will break down why something is happening and help you understand it a little bit better so that you can begin identifying these things on your own. This is a video I haven't seen yet. He hasn't posted a video in a couple months, but this is the Pacers defense looked like OKC's defense. So this is game 6 analysis. The reason I want to see it, and I think it'd be interesting, I've been wanting to do a breakdown anyways of the Indiana Pacers defense because they do a lot of the stuff that we talk about on the channel. So if he's already done a breakdown, doesn't make sense for me to have to go and also do a breakdown. Let's react to it, see what he's talking about, see if I agree or disagree. But also, this is more of a shout out to the channel, and also I get to watch this video, so it's kind of a double whammy. So
this series was a clash between OKC's historically great defense and Indiana's unique high-paced offense. But after game 6, the Pacers defense has been a major development. Indiana had a good defense all year when they were healthy, but they've almost looked like the Thunder defense at times.
Really quickly, and hopefully he points this out in the video, one thing that the Pacers do really well, the Thunder do it too, and maybe that's why he's going to say Pacers look like OKC's defense. One thing that the Pacers were doing really well, and I thought was just, I can't wait to see where basketball goes from this. But Miles Turner, obviously a 5-man. Isaiah Hartenstein, obviously a 5-man. So these are typically your not prototypical, but these are typically your guys that are going to be, they're going to back off and they're going to stand in the paint and clog the key. But offensively, Miles Turner will step out and shoot threes. He'll get involved in a lot of pick and rolls, a lot of dribble handoffs. Isaiah Hartenstein can shoot that little floater from the elbow, but he's going to be involved in almost all the screens for OKC when he's out there. He's probably their best. He's by far their best screener. What I learned from this is the next evolution of defense in the NBA for sure, but probably worldwide now, is your bigs have to be able to pressure the ball and have to be involved in pick and rolls. And Indiana would do that full court. And I've called this out a couple times. It's so amazing to watch. If you're going to be a 5-man in today's game, you can't just sag off. So right here, Miles Turner is sagged off. But as soon as that action is happening, as soon as he realizes there's going to be an action here, he gets involved. I personally think he should already be involved. Ideally, best case scenario, you're already involved on the ball, just because I think it makes the passing lanes a little bit tougher and you're not having to play catch up. But they did this so well by like all the 5-men, Obi Toppin when he was out there and was playing the big Siakam, whoever was playing the 4 or the 5, every time their man would set a screen, they would be involved. It's such a trend, and it's very old school for the big to just drop back and be like, I got whoever comes off. But the OKC and the Pacers and so many other teams, yeah, they're going to do a pick and roll so they can get that mismatch. You can't have Miles Turner backing off and then have Jalen Williams coming full speed going at him. You're not going to, you can't win that game. Getting those post players involved forces, and if your guards are willing to fight over and fight through screens, like, you're going to make it tough. You're going to make it tough, and sometimes they're still going to score, but you make it as tough as you can, and you don't just give them the answer with like a simple mismatch. I think it's so good. Sorry.
The Thunder defense at times in this series, holding OKC to a season-low 91 off.
And that's what it is, right? Like, technically, Caruso was the right read there, but Halliburton has to fight over it. And if you've never played this spot, if you've never been a guard that's had to fight over screens, and I mean like an NBA fight over multiple screens, you can't, it's really hard to imagine how difficult this is. And I think that's what most fans, and honestly a lot of players and coaches, they don't empathize. They can't empathize. They can't put themselves in someone else's shoes and understand how difficult this is. So a lot of people will be like, oh, boring series because it's the Pacers Thunder. But when I see this, I'm like, oh my gosh.
In this series,
Halliburton's not necessarily known as an elite defender.
He's holding OKC to a season low
But to be able to get through and deflect that pass.
91 offensive rating in Game 6 and smothering them into their highest turnover rate of the season. Game 6.
What do we talk about with the one pass away? Right here, you're one pass away and everyone out here can shoot the ball, so you're never allowed to just sag off your man into the key. But Obi Toppin, remember what our rule is that we learned from Tuomas Iasolo? You're responsible for 60% of the drive, 100% of your player. So Caruso's not a threat right now, so he can probably help a little bit more. But he does. He just digs down. He doesn't fully commit. Like if Wiggins kicks that out, then Obi Toppin still has to get there, but he digs down, gets a little deflection. OKC or Pacers scramble. Good job.
Season. The big Pacer development this game was almost entirely eliminating their full court pressure. Picking up at half court instead, Shea dribbles it off Miles Turner's foot for the first of his 8 turnovers. And look at how close Turner is to this screen. So there's no...
He's saying it. He's saying the thing. Being involved. Get close. Like, you'll see this so often. Bigs just drop back here because they're like, well, he's coming off that screen. We can just go under. And it's like, you can, but then Isaiah Hartenstein will just re-screen. They'll twist it. He'll come back and they'll re-screen lower. Why not just play up? Why not just play up, especially right here, whether they call it coffin corner or dead zones, like whatever your team name is that you call this. But if you can get involved and crowd that area, make it a little bit more difficult. One of the best players in the world right here just won MVP.
Speed.
If you close that space, close that gap, it gives Miles Turner a chance. If Miles Turner drops back here, he's got no shot against SGA.
A slip through. Remember, earlier in the series, Shea had too much space to split that screen and get downhill. So the focus for Indiana is executing this technique by being within reach of the screener, containing the ball if needed, then once the on-ball defender recovers, returning to the screener, and then Miles does a great job here.
So when I hear people talk about drop coverage being bad, it's such a lazy talking point. It's a surface level talking point. No, lazy drop coverage is terrible. Good drop coverage, it looks like this.
In reach of the screen.
Miles Turner is there. He's in drops. He's responsible for 2 players right here. And I feel like this is Chet Holmgren's next evolution. Well, and again, these are adjustments, right? Maybe this was an adjustment. This was working maybe last game, but it wasn't working this game because they adjusted. That's why the playoffs were so good this year. Watching Rick Carlisle and Mike Dagnall go back and forth with adjustments. I actually think Rick Carlisle proved how elite of a coach he is by the type of adjustments he made. But this right here is so good. This is drop coverage. Miles Turner is guarding 2 players for a second, right? While Siakam fights over, gets back in front. Now Miles closes out. This is the stuff I look at when people say like Miles Turner sucks, he's just a 5-man or whatever. I'm just like, defensively, man, that's hard to do, especially as a 5. That's impressive. And then you close out Chet Holmgren and stick with him. That's really good. And even if Chet scored here, I would look at all that and go, man, you made them get into their 2nd, 3rd, 4th layer. Most NBA teams, especially during the regular season, it's just like, one action, let's get a mismatch shot, drive, kick 3. Like, it's so simple. This was excellent basketball.
Miles does a great job here, staying square and bodying Chet Holmgren into a traveling violation. This becomes a game of inches because sometimes the positioning earlier in the possession influences this. Miles is a touch behind here, pushes the ball away from the pick, and they just late switch it when Jalen Williams opts for a step back.
Man, this is so good. This is why I like thinking basketball. He notices the same stuff I notice. So when I hear, like, these are the types of people to me that I wish were breaking down the game on. I know he does partner with the NBA a little bit, but I wish these were the type of people that made the big money breaking down games and talking about the games on TV. Instead, we just get people that will go, Miles Turner, that's terrible defense. You can't guard Jalen Williams one-on-one. Why would they ever do that matchup? Why would you do, like, we just get the most simple surface level stuff. But it's like, we saw what Miles Turner was capable of. It just so happens that this play, he was a little bit late. Like, not a lot. He was a little bit late. And then, so what did OKC do? Exactly what I said. Hold on, we'll watch it from the beginning. So because he allowed him to set the screen low and he wasn't involved up here, so they get to set the screen. Nesmith fights over. They just rescreen, right? That's what I said. If you're not involved here, they'll just rescreen. They'll just set another one. And this is what good offenses do. Jalen Williams could have drove and forced something tough, but it's like, no, get the mismatch. Try to rescreen again. Be disciplined. So he's disciplined now they forced the switch, and now they get the shot they want. Like, so this was just, to me, really good offense and really good defense. It's just the offense on this play was better. The defense, the last play was better. It's just like exactly what he said, game of inches.
Step back. But otherwise, Turner wants to be up at the level of the screen. Again, defends the split dribble or pocket pass, and Aaron Nesmith works hard to recover and strip the ball at the rim.
Man, and this is where now our one-on-one stuff becomes involved. So this is going from team concepts and team defense, pick and roll concepts, pick and roll defense, all of our spacing concepts. But then it becomes one-on-one right here. So Jalen Williams has the angle. Nesmith sees that angle, is about to be the elbow. So it's full speed left, right, from Jalen Williams. Now you got to win the bump. So Nesmith does this thing that's become really popular this playoffs. It's happened. Some individual players have used it a lot, but this is the first time I really saw teams kind of buy into this whole concept of like hollowing out and then playing the ball. So don't let him bump you out of the way. Like, hollow out, play the ball. Nesmith actually did it probably worse than everyone, because he would take the bump and then try to get a foul from the ref, and they were never calling that, especially on Shea. Nesmith was probably the best at it, where he would hollow out and still get a deflection. Nesmith does it well here.
So this coverage asks a lot of the on-ball defender, who's trying to stick to the dribbler.
Yeah, and we spoke about this in the awful coaching breakdown that he did of the Thunder Pacers, and he was completely wrong.
Coverage asks a lot.
Right here, Nesmith, this was the Knicks game, I think it was, that we broke down, and it was Josh Hart. So Josh Hart was defending the ball handler, and it was Jalen Brunson, I think it was.
Ball defender,
and he did exactly the same thing Nesmith does here. He gets up because he hears the screen call, and when you hear a screen call, like, you have to get up and get attached so you can hopefully force him over. What happened was Josh Hart. No, who was the ball handler? It was Tyrese Halliburton. My bad. Josh Hart jumped up, and Tyrese Halliburton faked like he was going, and he denied the screen and got a layup or something like that. And he was saying that, the defense was so bad, but you got to just understand the team concepts of why these things happen, why these little micro interactions work or don't work.
To stick to the dribbler like his life depends on it. And Nesmith's so physical, Williams dribbles it right off his foot.
And it was the same thing that happened here, but Halliburton handled the physicality and made a really good fake. Williams couldn't handle the physicality, didn't win the bump in the physicality part up here, takes a bad angle here. Nesmith, great defense. This is like the next evolution of Jalen Williams. Once he's like, this is what really bothered me in the finals. If he has this in his game,
Nesmith's so physical,
where he can just get here, maybe bump him off,
Williams,
and just get an open elbow jump shot, Thunder are going to be scarier. So if he works on his game this summer and just works on the complementary things like that, I don't know who's going to beat them.
Dribbles it right
Nuggets.
off his
Gotta
foot.
be the Nuggets.
And this sounds like a Thunder game, staying physical through screens and forcing endless turnovers. Nesmith navigates screens well, and so does Andrew Nembhard, who maintains contact with Shea around the pick, keeps sliding his hips Lou Dort style, and just rips Gilgeous-Alexander.
Man, that's, oh my gosh. Look at this. Stays attached, and every time that Shea bumps him, Nesmith gets right back and gets really attached, similar to the Jeremy Lin post thing we were talking about. Like, doesn't give up too much space, but that right there, And I think he's grabbing his off arm with his right hand. So if you look at Nembhard's right hand here, I think he grabs Shea's arm. Oh, no, he doesn't. But they are doing the arm battle. Shea goes with the one-hand pickup, and Nembhard just gets his arm in there for the deflection. That's crazy. That's so good.
And this was a great wrinkle from Nembhard, where Ben Mathurin is a touch out of position on the screen, so Shea can get downhill, but Nembhard just stays with him and nearly blocks his shot at the
These are the Drew Holiday type plays that I talk about a lot. I think some players are just really good at freestyling situations. And look, Rick Carlisle might have, or whoever the coaching staff specifically for the defense over there with Indiana might have said to Nembhard, like, this is how you're going to guard Shea. If this happens, then do this. But to me, I've seen players that just naturally have these instincts. Like, he knows Shea's game. Like, they're good friends. They've played against and with each other forever. He's probably in his mind like, no, I can't let him go get this shot. I'm going to stick with him. So when he bumps off Mathurin, I'll challenge it, and we'll risk Wiggins over here wide open. Also, if you have team defense and guys that are willing to scramble, this isn't the worst, because Shea's now driving to his left. TJ McConnell is right here and kind of playing two players. He's guarding Wiggins up here, Chet Holmgren here. But those are tough passes for Shea to make. Under duress, two players on him, hook pass with his left hand. TJ probably is thinking like he's got time, or Nembhard is thinking like he's got time on this. Man, this is so good.
At the end, and I think this catches Shea off guard. And much like the Thunder D, we have 4 defenders in the paint daring passes to 2 wide open shooters on the outside.
Yeah, but this pass was never going to get there across there with the rim and Obi Toppin. That was the only one that was open, but you can't. He's driving left. You can't see Wiggins there.
When Shea involves a vulnerable guard like TJ McConnell, Indy will jump switch to briefly slow down the ball. Nembhard lingers to.
This is what we were seeing with Paris. Paris was doing this right in the Euro League, and when we were watching Chris Likes video. Yeah, Chris Likes was talking about this is how they defend their pick and rolls. I can't remember what it was called, like what this was called, but Tuama Iasolo breaks this down too. So maybe we'll look at that clinic, that pick and roll clinic, and have a look at this too.
So when Shea passes, he has to run the shooter off the line. Then suddenly he deflects a pass out of bounds. He has to run.
Man, just keep your feet moving.
The shooter off the line. Then suddenly he deflects.
Daryl McDonald, who played in the NBL years ago, and for the Giants and Tigers and quite a few other teams down in Australia, he was one of the best at that. I remember watching a lot of game film of him. So he was one of the best.
When Shea passes, he has to run the shooter off the.
When people would drive by him,
line, then
he would run and then take the shooter over here, and we get so many steals off of that.
And suddenly he deflects a pass out of bounds. And yes, this is a Thunder level peel switch from Indiana, with Pascal Siakam reading the play, leaving to help, while Nembhard U-turns to take Siakam's man in the corner. Now, here's one in transition where Miles is slow to react, but Nesmith is pulled way off Jalen Williams, so Shea has nowhere to go. Then Siakam.
Yeah, this is crazy. If you can't close out, I learned this at just, I'd say a medium level. When I say medium, I mean medium pro level. I don't mean like medium across the world. I mean like it's still an elite level. But one thing I learned, that defensively, if you can't close out and play defense, if you can't close out and play defense, like you just can't play at that level. So now when I watch the NBA, especially these last couple years, oh my gosh, the amount of closeouts they create and how good these teams have gotten at creating closeouts, it's just a prerequisite. If you can't do that, your team's not going to do well at all.
Jumps out on the pass to let Nesmith recover.
The Thunder and the Pacers were so elite at this. Like, doing this for 48 minutes is just crazy.
Actually goes the wrong way, but the Pacers are really packing the paint and shrinking the.
And really, like, yes, Jalen Williams got an open shot, but look, this was a semi-transition. This is kind of like a secondary break.
But Nesmith,
they messed up the pick and roll So if you mess up the pick and roll in a secondary break and the MVP of the league
pulled way off,
passes it before he gets inside the three, and then their second best player takes a three, it's like, oh, we messed up the pick and roll, and the best you guys could get is a 1-pass three.
Jalen Williams. So Shea has nowhere to go. Then
and never got inside the key. That's a good possession.
Siakam,
even if he makes it, it's like
jumps out on the pass to let Nesmith recover. Aaron actually goes the wrong way, but the Pacers are really packing the paint and shrinking the floor. On this one, it's early offense, and Turner's the one pulled way off of Holmgren. Then he recovers out to Chet to block it.
Man, again, that's crazy, right? Like it looks like he's moving in mud, but you just have to remember that's a 7-footer. Like
way off of Holmgren. Then he recovers out to Chet to
like he's closing out pretty fast.
Block it.
Gets the block. And then now Chet, same thing. Off-season Chet can remember like, oh, when I'm playing against other guys that are 7-footers as well, because he usually has the mismatch, right? So now Chet can start working on reading the defense on a closeout. Oh, shot fake, go. Be more efficient with that sort of stuff.
And this was a big game for Miles, really using his strength advantage to ragdoll Holmgren on defense, and then the awesome spinning block there. Here, it's another screen for Chet. Miles switches out and smothers him. Then when the Thunder reset into a pick and roll, there's an extra body in the middle of the lane because Nembhard ignores Shea's cut. J-Dub nearly dribbles it out of bounds.
Man, we're starting to see a lot like Jalen Williams struggling going left with contact, right? Wasn't it left-hand layups that he struggled with last year? Now it's like going left with physicality. So I'm excited to see what he adds to his game.
But the damage has been done and the possession is crushed. And this one's next level stuff with Shea looking for a ball screen.
Same thing. Look how high up. Look how hot that like involved they are.
That help defender actually emergency switches to SGA to stop any advantage.
Man,
and the
so
real
quick.
magic here.
You've just got to be like on a string with your team. Defensively, this is a masterclass.
Is Nembhard switching to Toppin's man, only his man cuts right through. So Halliburton takes him instead. Nesmith goes to Halliburton's man in the corner, and that's amoeba-level flexibility from the Pacers before a tough foul call. Seeing the finals live was incredible. Yeah, weren't you going to take me?
Oh, I think this is going to be a sponsor segment. You guys can skip ahead if you want. We probably should watch it.
Well, that's not exactly possible. What if we use the SeatGeek app? Oh, that's great. That'll get me and the viewers to all kinds of events this summer. Baseball, concerts.
Okay. SeatGeek. Does he have like a code or something? Thinking 10 for 10% off.
Added.
Go check him out. Okay, we'll watch maybe one more play.
The Thunder went to a bread and butter play where the player under the rim spaces to the outside during the pick.
Kind of like, this is like a Spain pick and roll, right?
Pick and roll, only
Wait, did he call it that? Yeah, this is definitely a Spain pick and roll, but without the screen. Kind of probably just a read.
Spaces to the outside during the pick and roll, only again, the Pacers just ignore that cut to pack the paint. J-Dub is wide open, but the pass never comes.
And a lot of you, so this is, I saw a lot of commentary around this. This is what I mean. I wish this guy, and I need to go look his name up. He's brilliant. I wish he was doing a lot more of the breakdowns. But the problem is good breakdowns take time, whereas people can just get on and just make nonsense videos and it takes no time. So it's harder to get more good information than just nonsense information. People were saying like, people will simply say, why didn't Shea just pass it to Jalen Williams here? And the problem is, look at Nembhard. Like, he's like reaching for the ball constantly. So Shea has barely got a handle on it. He's looking at the ball. He's worrying about this hand battle. He can't see what else is happening. So by the time he gets up into his pickup, he hasn't accounted for where all the players are. But also what happened a couple plays ago that we just watched. Whenever Siakam stepped over and they did their peel switch, Nembhard ran through and got that steal. This time, Nembhard decided to stay. This is what I'm saying is the brilliance of their team defense. But then Nembhard and like Nesmith, Siakam, just making random good plays on their own also. So it's kind of like a read. Like sometimes we're going to double, sometimes we're not. They don't just do it every single time. And that was the brilliance I saw from the Pacers this year. It's just so good. So people are like, oh, open passing or just throw it. And it's like, yeah, but you got to think what's going through his head. You got to see what's happening. And you also got to remember, like, this is happening really fast. And now Siakam is playing the pass a little bit, right? There's just so much happening. And whenever I saw how focused this playoffs were, particularly in the finals, with offensive players being able to play so many different positions and everyone being involved, everyone shooting, and it not just being ISO heavy. Same thing defensively, everyone having to guard, everyone having to fly around, everyone taking closeouts, everyone switching onto a guard and becoming kind of amorphous. It let me know that the basketball still has so much room to grow. And I think it's heading in it. I think next year's playoffs is going to be more insane because it's a copycat league. Every team is going to see this now and be like, okay, we don't necessarily need a Shea to win a championship because Indiana Pacers almost won. If Halliburton wouldn't have got hurt, they could have just as well walked away with a championship ring. So people are going to see that and go, okay, the keys to success are playing faster paced, more team style basketball on the offensive and defensive end. Let's not rely on just like a one superstar to carry us. Let's make sure we have like maybe a guy, whoever our best player is, has to buy in, but everyone else, let's put some pieces around and let's fly around. Let's play all of our guys. Let's run deep so that in the regular season we've got, fresh legs. So I'm excited for this next season. I think this is really good. Please go follow Thinking Basketball, which I think is by far one of the best basketball channels in the space, and I think they grow basketball, probably NBA at least. They grow NBA basketball probably far more than any other individual YouTube channel, and it's just good. I don't think I've ever watched a video of his and just been like, no, that's wrong, that's so bad. I might agree with his thinking on a couple things, but not because he's wrong or not because I'm right. It's more so just a different philosophy. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I would have done this, or I maybe do this, but like that's what coaching is. And at the highest levels, that's why I think there's so much context and nuance. And also, so sometimes it's just this team just happened to hit more shots, so I think this is really good. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next video.